In the beginning, according to Greek mythology, there was only chaos. This chaos was not an empty void but a blend of everything we know, completely unorganized and purposeless. It was a whirlwind of energy, a vast and uncontrollable presence where all elements were mingled, with no distinction between sky, earth, or sea. Nothing had form, there was no order, and the world as we know it did not yet exist. Then, from this immense chaos, Gaia emerged, the Mother Earth. Gaia was not just a goddess. She was the very embodiment of the earth, symbolizing fertility and the foundation of all that would come to exist. As a stabilizing element, Gaia brought order to chaos, providing a base for the world to take shape. Amidst the darkness and confusion, Gaia established firm ground, representing the beginning of a more organized creation. She was the first presence to give meaning to the universe, and with her arrival, the world began to find balance. Gaia was ready to begin bringing life to the planet, an act that would transform chaos into a habitable and orderly cosmos. Her presence symbolizes the power of creation and the ability to bring life where there was once only disorder. With her stabilizing presence, Gaia became the very personification of planet Earth, revered as the source of all life and the foundation of all creations. Gaia covered the earth with vegetation, valleys, and mountains, preparing the ground for the creatures that would inhabit the world. She was not only the soil and plants but also the nurturing mother who connected all elements and sustained life. Driven by this creative power, Gaia gave birth to the primordial deities who would represent the forces of nature. First came Pontus, the god of the seas, who brought waters and their mysteries to fill the earth. Next, she created Rhea, the deity of the mountains, forming towering peaks that touched the sky and added majesty to the planet. Through these elements, Gaia established harmony between land and sea, mountains and valleys, creating a world where life could thrive. Gaia was responsible for laying all the foundations that would support the universe. In doing so, she initiated a cycle of creation that would expand and evolve, establishing the framework of the world as we know it. Her strength was unstoppable, and her power to generate life made her the most respected goddess, embodying what it means to create and sustain the planet. After creating the earth and the primordial deities, Gaia felt the need for a companion who would share her greatness and with whom she could continue the expansion of creation. Thus, she gave birth to Uranus, the starry sky. Uranus enveloped Gaia in a union that was both powerful and inseparable. He covered the earth with his starry mantle, and together they formed a perfect fusion of sky and earth. The union of Gaia and Uranus was the starting point for the creation of new forms of life. From this alliance came extraordinary beings, as well as feared creatures. First emerged the Centimanes, giants of unimaginable strength with 100 arms and 50 heads. Then came the Cyclopes, one-eyed beings symbolizing the raw, uncontrollable power of nature. These creatures were the result of the combined power of earth and sky, representing both the strength and the dangers of creation. Finally, from this union were born the Titans, gigantic and powerful deities embodying the fundamental elements of the universe. Each Titan possessed a unique aspect and ruled over an essential force of nature. The union of Gaia and Uranus not only created powerful beings, but also paved the way for an era in which these colossal forces would shape the universe, marking the beginning of the generations of gods. With the birth of the Titans, Gaia and Uranus brought forth powerful and colossal deities, each embodying fundamental forces of nature. The Titans were giants, and like their parents, they held great power and influence over the elements of the cosmos. With the presence of these new gods, earth and sky became more vibrant, and the Titans played essential roles in maintaining the natural order. However, while Gaia took pride in the children she had born, Uranus felt threatened by them. The combined power of the Titans, along with the strength of the Cyclopes and the Centimanes, was something Uranus deeply feared. He worried that one day he might be overthrown by his own creations, and this anxiety led him to take drastic measures. Uranus decided to imprison his most feared children in Tartarus, a deep and dark abyss within the bowels of the earth. He believed that by keeping these beings confined, he could prevent any revolt that might threaten his reign. But this decision had dire consequences. Gaia, mother of them all, suffered immensely seeing her children imprisoned in a place of darkness and torment. Thus, Uranus's fear sowed the seeds of a future conflict, and Gaia, unable to bear her children's suffering, began to seek a way to free them and put an end to Uranus's tyranny. Seeing her children imprisoned in Tartarus, Gaia felt a profound and immeasurable pain. As a mother, she could not endure the anguish of knowing that her own creations were confined to a place of darkness, with no hope of freedom. This suffering was not only emotional. Gaia, being the very earth, physically felt the impact of the depths where her children were held. Driven by this agony, Gaia decided it was time to end Uranus's tyrannical reign. She knew her own power alone would not be enough, so she turned to those who remained, the Titans. Gaia approached them and shared her plan to overthrow Uranus, revealing that she would need the help of one of her children to free the imprisoned siblings. Among the Titans, only one responded to Gaia's call: Cronus, the most ambitious and fearless of the siblings. He believed that by freeing his brothers and seizing Uranus's power, he could rule the cosmos with greater justice, or at least with more control. Cronus accepted the challenge, ready to face even his own father in his quest for power. To ensure the plan's success, Gaia gave Cronus a special weapon, a diamond sickle, capable of wounding even the mightiest of deities. Armed with the sickle, Cronus prepared himself for the task that would define his destiny and the fate of the entire universe. Prepared to confront his own father, Cronus armed himself with the diamond sickle Gaia had given him and patiently waited for the right moment to act. He knew he would need determination and precision, for Uranus was immensely powerful. Yet Cronus was not driven solely by the desire to help his mother and free his siblings. He also saw this mission as an opportunity to seize power and rule the cosmos. The ideal moment finally arrived. On a silent night, when Uranus descended to rest upon Gaia, Cronus, hidden, prepared to strike. With a swift and ruthless blow, he wounded Uranus, castrating him with the sickle. The pain Uranus felt was overwhelming, and his screams echoed across the heavens, reverberating throughout the universe. This act not only marked the end of Uranus's rule, but also the beginning of a new era. From Uranus's blood, which fell upon the earth, new entities and deities were born, beings that reflected their father's primordial and chaotic power. Among them were the Furies, vengeful creatures who would bring justice and punishment, symbolizing the legacy of pain and conflict left by Cronus's strike. With Uranus defeated, Cronus freed his Titan siblings and was proclaimed the new ruler of the universe. However, upon taking power, he chose to keep the Cyclopes and Centimanes imprisoned, fearing that, like his father, they might one day turn against him. This act of betrayal sowed the seeds of a new cycle of conflict, for Cronus, now on the throne, feared that his own lineage might one day rise to challenge him. After his defeat, the spirit of Uranus cast a dark prophecy upon Cronus. He declared that just as he had been overthrown by his own son, Cronus too would lose his throne at the hands of one of his descendants. This premonition haunted Cronus deeply, for he now faced the same fate his father had feared. To prevent this prophecy from coming true, Cronus decided to take drastic measures. Each time his wife, Rhea, gave birth, he devoured the newborn child. Cronus believed that by preventing his children from growing up, he would eliminate any threat to his power. One by one, Rhea's children, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, were swallowed by Cronus, who acted with cold determination. Rhea, anguished and enraged by the loss of her children, resolved to save her next baby. When she gave birth to Zeus, she hid him in a cave and presented Cronus with a stone wrapped in cloth. Unaware of the deception, Cronus swallowed the stone, believing it to be his son. Through this clever ruse, Rhea managed to protect Zeus, who would grow up in hiding, preparing to one day challenge his father. Thus, Uranus's prophecy remained alive, and the cycle of power, betrayal, and conflict between father and son continued, awaiting the inevitable fulfillment of Cronus's fate. The story of the creation of the world according to Greek mythology is not just an origin tale. It's a reflection on power, nature, and the inevitable cycles that govern the universe. Each generation of gods faced conflicts and decisions that shaped the world, showing that the desire for control and power often leads to inevitable consequences. Uranus, in trying to maintain control over his children, faced his own downfall. Cronus, in attempting to escape the prophecy, cast himself into a similar cycle. This story teaches us about the balance between creation and destruction, and how power, when driven by fear and oppression, can spark resistance and rebellion. The myth of Gaia, Uranus, and Cronus reminds us that cycles of life, death, and rebirth are fundamental not only to mythology but to nature itself. The pursuit of absolute control is always followed by renewal and transformation. This cycle of creation and destruction, present in so many mythologies, mirrors human nature and our own struggles with power and freedom. The story also inspires us to reflect on the cycles in our own lives, recognizing that, no matter how much we attempt to control the future, certain fates are inevitable. If you enjoyed this fascinating journey through the creation of the universe in Greek mythology, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment below with other mythological stories or themes you'd like to see here. Your support helps keep these stories alive,